Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Debates. Today is the top 10 NBA player list episode. So we've got Dwayne, Emmanuel, and Aiden here. And basically, how it's going to go is I'll show the Google Slides and go through 10 to 1 for each person. They'll talk about why they put the people there, and then we'll give our opinions on the lists and have a debate on who's better than who. So I'm starting first now. So I will start with number 10. I put Jason Tatum. Now, I know he was hurt, not hurt, but he had COVID last year and he struggled a bit, but I think hopefully he has no side effects that are permanent from COVID, and hopefully he can get back to his normal self. And I think he could be a top 10. He's a top 10 player going into the season. The Celtics had a disappointing year, but he had a great stat line, shot well, and I truly believe he's a top 10 player. Okay, next is James Harden at number 9. His first year on the Nets, he split season with Rockets and Nets. He had a career high in rebounds per game, as well as overall offensive rating. It's a stat I discovered when I was doing this. So a lot of people were saying it's kind of a new James Harden. He kind of upgraded himself in a way. He became more of a leader somewhat. So he had a second highest field goal percentage, second highest assists per game, a 31.5 assist ratio. So it was one of the best James Harden we've seen outside of his MVP season. All right, number 8, I put Joel Embiid. He's a little more injury prone now, but I still think he's a top 10 player. He was a finalist for MVP, 4th in points per game in the league, 3rd in defensive rating, and he was the second best center behind Jokic, obviously, who was the MVP. Best player in the Sixers. Hopefully he can get some help, but he's number 8 for me. Number 7, I have Damian Lillard. I've moved him around a couple times. I had him top 5 originally. We moved him back to number 7. He was 3rd in points per game this season, scores a lot, but his shooting percentage was a little down, but he still hit a lot of threes, got a lot of assists. And once again, he kind of carried Portland to the playoffs. I think if he's on a better team, kind of adds to his value a little bit more. Number 6, I have LeBron. I think he's no longer a top 5 player. Still, I know I'm not the best LeBron fan, but he's still a top 10 player. I will admit that. He was his second lowest points per game season, but he's kind of turning himself around as a veteran now, not scoring a whole lot, more being a team leader, working with the young guys, but he just recruited like 7 veterans. But so he's kind of building another super team here. I think that's adding his value down. Also in the GOAT debate, he kind of needs a super team now. That's discussion for another day. But I have him number 6. All right, so in the top 5, number 5, Nikola Jokic. He was the MVP, so I'm putting him top 5. 7th assists per game, 10th rebounds per game. He's a center that, passes the ball, sort of a playmaking center. You don't see that a whole lot. And again, MVP, great defensive rating, 1st in field goals made. So Jokic is number 5. Number 4, Luka Doncic. I really like him. I had him a little bit closer to number 10. Then I bumped him down. Obviously, Mavericks team is not really going anywhere, but he kind of carries them to the playoffs. He had a career high in 3-point percentage and field goal percentage, 6th in points per game, 5th in assists per game. He's going to be a very good player throughout his career, so I have him number 4. Number 3, Steph Curry. Before the season when he was coming back from injury, and the group chat I have with Dwayne and Emmanuel is like, this is about to be Steph Curry 2.0. Now, maybe it wasn't his best season if you look back at his whole career, but he led the league in points per game, finished 3rd in MVP voting. He did have a little turnover problem. He was 6th in turnovers, but still the greatest 3-point shooter in history, in my opinion, and number 3 for him. Number 2, I have Kevin Durant. So I've heard people go Durant number 1, seen people go Giannis number 1. Chose Durant as number 2, 7th 3-point percentage, 9th in points per game. It was his best defensive season. He was the best player on that big 3 for the Nets. Very good season for him, and right now he's leading Team USA through the Olympics. So number 1 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Watching the finals, it kind of made it obvious for me. You know, he is the best player in the league right now. I think going into next season, he is the best in the league. He reached his next level in the finals. It was his, next big step in his career. He took down the Nets. He took down the Suns almost single-handedly, it seemed. Battled through injury. He had a problem at the free throw line, we know, but he's just unlocked another level in his game. So that's my top 10 NBA player list. And I will stop the share, and you can tell me what you think. So someone can start. Yes, Aiden, you want to start?
Yeah. So before I say anything, in my opinion, it is an 11-person first tier. There's, in my opinion, 11 people that you could say deserve to be top 10, that they're fighting for those spots. And Jason Tatum, I will just say, was not in my top 10. However, you did leave out Kawhi and you left out Anthony Davis. So I would just like to ask for your reasoning on that.
Yeah, so I definitely, at first when I was doing this, I forgot about Kawhi. Then I was talking with Dwayne at a basketball thing the other day, and I was like, oh, shoot, Kawhi. So I went back on my list, did a little more research, and I think he is injured right now. I don't know how soon in the season he's going to be there. It wasn't ACL, right? He tore his ACL. So, I don't know how soon he'll recover from that. So yeah, I could have put him in there, but I think just he might start the season injured, and so that's why I didn't put him in there. And for Anthony Davis, I completely didn't even think about him. So probably could have thought about that, but forgot about him.
Okay, I agree with most of your list. I think it's pretty good. That was the stuff that I had a problem with, but for the most part, I think yours was pretty good.
Now I have a question for you, Brian. This man, no, just hear me out. 33, averaging triple-double, aka Mr. Triple-Double, went to the Wizards, mind you, have no team there besides Bradley Beal, still averaging 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists, and I didn't see him on that top 10 list anywhere.
Well, first of all of these players average more points than that. And I can confidently say that all 10 of these players are better than Russell Westbrook right now. Now, if we're talking about career-wise, sure. If we were taking all these players' careers in the NBA, like best active players in careers, I might put Russell Westbrook in there. But we're talking about top 10 players going into next season, and these 10 players have a better chance of, winning MVP than Russell Westbrook.
I mean, to be fair, this man he's on the Lakers.
Yeah. Well,
this is going to be his time.
Sure.
So I can't wait for when the Lakers win the championship and he comes home with that trophy. I'm gonna be like, remember when you didn't put Russell Westbrook in your top 10 list?
Bro, it's not like he's about to get finals MVP, bro. If they make it.
If he makes it, it's gonna be between Russ or AD. Because LeBron's old. He'll probably get injured before the season ends.
Hold on.
Carmelo.
Russ.
Oh, I forgot about
AD.
Carmelo. Russ or AD?
I get AD. And I sort of get Russ because of his numbers. But you know what? I'm not trying to debate with you about Russell Westbrook. That's just going to go nowhere. Right?
Man, did you see? You're a Sixers fan, right?
Yeah.
Every time Russell Westbrook had the ball in the playoffs and he threw it off the backboard trying to bank it in, were you like, yeah, let's go. Thank you, Russell Westbrook, for shooting an awful shot and going 5 for 16 and playing bad defense? Because that's what I felt every single game in the Wizards series.
I mean, we must not have been watching the same game because this man was also destroying the Sixers from the mid-range. He would hit it, like he would do that nice little jump shot. It would just go right in. And it was like 8 out of 10 times I would go in. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure Russ was already injured later into the series.
Hold on.
On that popcorn that got in his eye.
Please, hold on. Someone look up his mid-range stats for that.
He shot 33% from the field in that series, 25%.
Oh my God, Mayo, 33%.
Okay, wait, hold up. Okay, but who was guarding him though?
Ben Simmons.
No, not all the
That's
time. It was
it's
like
Ben Simmons. This man is 6'11".
Bro.
Russell
Okay.
Westbrook is 6'1".
Okay. Hold on. But if Russell Westbrook is in that top 10, he needs to find another way to score. He can't just rim run against Ben. And he tried to shoot mid range and it didn't work out that well.
I'll go next. All right. But I'm just saying for Russ, I just think that if Russ was better, then he wouldn't have been traded for like a first round pick and like salary from the Lakers. I don't know what else they could have given up. But then again, he did get traded for John Wall and a first. Like he's not top 10 value in terms of trade. Like he's been on 3 teams in the last year. He's been on the Lakers now. He was on the Rockets a year ago, and he's on the Wizards last season. I mean, you don't normally trade top 10 players like that.
Well, it's probably because of his age. He's pretty old, and I think for the Houston Rockets term, him and Harden, I don't think they like we already knew. Russ didn't like being off the ball much because he's usually ball dominant. So he works well with Bradley Beal, but that team's not going anywhere. He wants to win a championship. That's why he went to the Lakers.
All right. As you can see, number 10, I have Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis could be higher if he wasn't hurt last year. He is definitely one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best. And I think if he were healthy last year and the Lakers had done better in the playoffs, he would be higher. The one thing I have not seen from Anthony Davis is his ability to take over a game without LeBron, without, I guess, Russell Westbrook now. And if he could do that, he could easily vault himself into the top 7, maybe top 5. Next, I have exactly what Ryan had, 9, James Harden. He would be higher, but he didn't do it in the playoffs. He did a decent regular season when he was healthy. Then again, he wasn't healthy very much. So these first 2 guys last year were injured, did not play a full season. They definitely would be higher, but for Harden specifically, his playoff failures and his just kind of James Harden basketball isn't exactly top 5 worthy, in my opinion. 8, I have Kawhi Leonard. This is discounting some of his injury. He was a top 3 player a couple of years ago when the Raptors made that run. He was one of the best playoff performers in that 2019 playoff run when they won the finals. Now with the Clippers, he's done worse than that. He's had a couple good games in the playoffs, but ultimately injury prone. Going into next season, he's probably going to miss half the season. So would be higher if he wasn't so injury prone. 7, I have Luka Doncic. Definitely could easily win MVP next year. Could definitely vault himself into the top 3, top 5. Luka is not a very good defensive player. That is why he is not higher, I guess, because we've seen how good he is offensively. So many buzzer beaters, some step back, crazy Luka moments. Could easily be top 5 next year. 6, Joel Embiid. Ryan, I think, had him at 8. In my opinion, Joel Embiid is the 2nd best defensive player in the league. He was amazing defensively in the playoffs last year. I think game 4 or game 6, he was amazing in that Hawks series. He's absolutely dominant, maybe the most dominant player in the league. Injury prone, yes, but last year he played through a torn meniscus. Let's not overstate that. And he might not even get surgery for it this year. So that just shows how tough he is. And injury prone, sure, but definitely can play through a lot. 5, the MVP, Nikola Jokic. I would say this is his peak. I don't think you can get much better with Jokic. The 4 guys ahead of him are, in my opinion, they're never going to be overpassed by Jokic. I think this is the best Jokic can be at. We saw his amazing MVP season last year. Lost in the second round. Unfortunately, Jamal Murray got hurt. That's not exactly his fault, but I think this is a good spot for Jokic. If I were Jokic, I'd be amazed with this. I would be happy with this. For LeBron, I think Dwayne would have LeBron higher because he is, maybe in Dwayne's opinion, the GOAT, and a lot of people's opinion, the GOAT. But last year, we did not see a Cavs takeover playoff run and season that we are used to seeing from LeBron. Last year, LeBron took way too many threes and was injured for about half the season with that ankle injury, and lingered throughout the playoffs and throughout the end of the regular season. If LeBron stays healthy next year and wins the title, he could be back up to number 1 or number 2 potentially. But I did not see a vintage LeBron season last year, and that is why I have my number 4. My top 3, I'm just going to say it. It's the same as Ryan's. Number Durant, and number 1, I have Giannis. You can't say Durant's number 2, and you can't say he's number 1. Sorry, you can't say he's number 1 because of the Olympics. If you're like, look at Durant, look at this awesome Olympics he's having. It's like, come on, he's playing against like the best Australians in the league. It's like cool. But when you look at Giannis, he's going up against Chris Paul and the Suns and absolutely dominating. We talked about Giannis a lot and his finals run in the last episode of Sports Debates. I think we all could see how dominant he was. Curry, number 3. I don't think he could get much higher than this. Might be able to get to number 2 if he wins the finals next year, has a good playoff run. The Warriors do look scary, in my opinion. They are the second best team in the West. And KD, he had his amazing season, or amazing playoff game. I think it was game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, where he put up 49, like 16, and 9 assists. One of the best games of his career, the KD game. Very well could have gone to the finals if his foot were not on the line in that game 7. And Giannis, I talked about him. In my opinion, he's the best right now. Great defensively, offensively unstoppable. Averaged 35 points a game in the finals. And yep, that's my top 10. Any questions or debates?
Now, I'm a run something for you. I am not a LeBron freak fan. I don't even have him at his GOAT status. So
Okay.
to some point, I have him in my top 5 in my GOAT status. That's about as close as he's getting. I am actually really happy that you put him at 4, because he doesn't deserve the 3, the 2, or the 1 at all, in my opinion. And that's not because of his like skill. It's because of injuries and everything combined with his age. It's just at the point where you're kind of like, okay, you're not the best in the league, but we'll give you some props. So, yeah, I really like that place.
I'll say something because when he texted me his list, he sent 10 through 1, and then up at the top he had number 11, Damian Lillard. So share us your thoughts on him not being in the top 10 and why you mentioned earlier it's kind of an 11-man race.
I wouldn't have a problem if somebody put him in the top 10. I don't have a problem with you putting him at. Actually, I do have a problem with you putting him at 7 or 6 or whatever you put him. And that's only because he's not a very good defensive player, and he doesn't have much of a playoff resume. I mean, he is very clutch. He's hit a bunch of insane game winners. He's insane offensively, but he's a 6'1" point guard that is not very good defensively and hasn't won a title. He's gotten to the Western Conference once. I wouldn't have a problem if you put him 10 or 9 even. You could argue that, but in my opinion, he's the 11th guy on my list, still in that top tier, the best 11 players in the league. Emmanuel, you have any rebuttals?
I just want to say the one of the point guards that is on about the same, who's beneath Curry, mind you, but is still somehow have the same ability to shoot almost as good as Curry, is not in the top 10. The one who's stuck with a not so good team, but yet somehow almost every year makes the playoffs. You know why? Because it's Dame time every time. This man is a man that you'd be like, hold up. Did he just walk past the logo?
I'm
You
not-
have,
yeah.
Like, this is the man that you double team as soon as he gets to the logo.
Hold on.
'Cause he will pull up from the logo
Hold on,
and
man.
make it.
Slow down. I get that, right? But this is why I could never say, I don't want to stray off a little too far, but this is why I never say Curry could be in GOAT status, because his defense. And the same
Guys,
thing with it's saying, hold on. Just give me a sec. It's the same thing kind of Damian Lillard. I can't put him in that, for me, top 5 or top 6 without 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 okay, without that defense that he lacks. So yeah.
That's honestly why I had Dame outside the top 10, because of his defense. In my opinion, Curry's a better defender than him. Curry's like a bit below average. Dame is a bad defender. Not Trae Young level bad, but not a good one. And it's really hard because I know he's a really good shooter. I know he's gotten a lot better at getting to the rim and getting free throws, but he's just not good enough defensively to be in the top 7. He could be 8, he could be 9, he could be 10, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But if you're going to say that the Dame, without a finals appearance, without a meaningful Western Conference performance, and they did get swept by the Warriors, so in my opinion, Curry's way clear of Dame because of that series and other reasons. And if you wanted to put him 8, 9, or 10, go ahead. I won't kill you over it. That's just your opinion. My opinion is he's the 11th best player in the league.
I have a question for you. If Dame gets traded to, say, the Sixers and they get to the finals, does that up his value and get him closer to 1?
Yeah, he would be in the top 10 in that case because he'll have a finals appearance and maybe win one. But he is having a lot more help with Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers as a coach, Morey as a GM, and surrounding talent. So him carrying his team to the Western Conference is an impressive feat because that team was not good. That's almost as impressive as getting to the finals with, say, the Sixers or the Warriors, even if that happens.
Emmanuel, let's not be too mean, guys. And we're at number 10 is just a great start to Emmanuel. All right, Emmanuel, start us off.
Paul George at number 10. This man, I had to put him at number 10. He's not as clutch as I want him. He averages 22.3 points a game, 6.6 rebounds, 5.2. Him and Kawhi aren't average close stats. Luka did better than him. So I had to put him lower. I know he's up in the age now. So he's still top 10, but I had to put him right there at the bottom. I do know I did have somebody else that could have alternated with him, but it's fine. Number 9, I have Kawhi Leonard. He was hurt, so it took him away from higher. And his defense is still very good. The claw, that's why he's called himself the claw. His hands are huge defensively, great. Averages 24.8 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 5.2 assists. he averages he had the same stats as Paul George, who's 23, mind you, so he's older than Kawhi. Or sorry, not 23, 33, who is older than Kawhi. So it kind of made him not look as good because he's older, so you should be able to outplay him if you're supposed to be a higher caliber player. And then at number 7, I put Luka Doncic.
Oh,
Or sorry, at number 8, Luka
yeah,
Doncic.
okay, hang on.
Due to his ability of scoring 27.7 points per game, 8.8 rebounds per game, 8.8 assists per game. Now, I had to put him a little lower than I like to. Not only because of his skills, but because of his personality. His personality in the locker room doesn't work. I'm sorry. He had to go lower. You can't be a top 10 player
Oh my
and
God.
then be the little and then you have to
God.
you can't tell me I'm wrong. This man is like the worst person to have in the locker room besides Reggie Jackson.
Calm down. Yeah, keep going.
And then number 7, I put Joel Embiid.
All right, fair.
Just because he keep getting injured. He had 28.5 points, 10.6 rebounds, 2.8 assists, which I'm surprised he only had that little assists. Well, I mean, I guess there's not many people on his team that could really shoot like that. But it's fine. Besides Seth. Then at number 5, or at number 6, we had to put Giannis Antetokounmpo. 28.1 rebound points per game, 11 rebounds, 5.9 assists. Now, Giannis, absolute great defender, absolute great slasher. If he gets a jump shot or works on his free throw a bit more, I will put him at number 1. But until then, he will be stuck in the top 5. No cap. Top 6 only because he somehow got out rebounded by top 5, Brian.
What?
Top 5 Russell Westbrook out rebound Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh my God. I can't do the challenge. I'm sorry.
Y'all are crazy. Like Russ didn't average 22.2 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 11.7 assists. How are you going to let a 6'1" point guard out rebound you? Riddle me this. 6'1", 33 years old, a point guard out rebounded most centers in the league. He literally nobody in the top 10, not Russ, not KD, not Dame, not Giannis, nobody in the list came close to his assists. Nobody in this list came close to his rebounds besides Giannis.
And Embiid.
Oh, and Embiid with 10.6.
And Luka averaged a lot of assists also.
He only averages 8.8,
Only
which is compared to the rest, that's like a three assist total. And then number 4, I had to put Dame. Just from his ability to shoot. And y'all said earlier that he doesn't have defense, which I considered putting him lower on due to that. But it is a team sport. So one person's weak ability can be put to somewhere else. So like if
you know what? No, keep it going.
just
Sorry.
wait till after. Let's get through this.
That's and not only that, but he averages 28.8 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. Which with this team is like that's pretty impressive with the team full of CJ McCollum and CJ McCollum. And then next up, I had to put LeBron. I'm still a LeBron fan. He's averaging these. He's at the age, but he's still averaging 25 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, 7.7 assists per game. With a team consisting of, remember, he had Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and Dennis Schroeder. The only man that was reliable on his team was Anthony Davis. Now, next up, this was a battle. I couldn't choose between who to pick. I put KD as my number 2. 26.9 points per game, 7.1 rebounds, 5.6. If he didn't join a super team, again, mind you, this is the second time joining a super team or creating a super team, I might have put him at number 1. But the fact that he was the building blocks for a super team and already joined the super team, and he's not, and after that team 3-1 him in the playoffs, and he joined that team right after, I can't say that he's the number 1 player in the NBA currently. After that, number 1, I had to put Steph Curry. 32 points per game. That's the first in the NBA. First. He's ranked first in the NBA in points. 5.5 rebounds a game. 66 in the NBA. And that he's a point guard and he's really short. And he should be able to get out rebounded by everybody on his team. Then 5.8 assists. He was 26 in the NBA with that. Now, I put him at number 1 for his shooting ability. His ability to break up almost any defense he wants. He does not care. There's nobody, I don't think there's anybody in the game that is a point guard or a shooting guard that can guard Curry. We already saw you can double team this man. It does not matter. He still makes it. And not only that, but his team was full of almost nobodies. And he still averaged 5.8 assists a game. I don't know about you, but if I was Curry and I had that shooting ability, I'm not passing the ball to any one of them, besides maybe Andrew Wiggins.
Can't forget about Draymond Green, his buddy, his pal. That gets him the assist.
Like I said, I'm not passing the ball to anybody besides Andrew Wiggins. And maybe the center, James Wiseman, if he's in at the same time.
All right, who wants to
All
start?
right, who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? That's the question.
I could write a 5-paragraph essay. I'm going to be honest.
Oh my god.
I could write 10, and I don't like writing.
All right.
I'll just
I'll start. Sorry. This is just a general theme for Emmanuel's basketball opinion. Emmanuel, you are the Joey Chestnut of stat eating. Like, not all of basketball is just what you average.
That's why I put, to be fair, I put Dame over some people that had better stats than him, just because of how good of a player he is, how much he's worth at such an age as he is. Like, if you traded him, there's no way you're getting any less than 4 first-round picks from him.
Russ does not have an NBA title, and he's number 5.
No.
He averages 22 points a game. Every single person on the list averages more points than Russ, including everybody behind him. We've already had the Russ discussion. He did not do well in the playoffs. He doesn't play defense. He's been traded for a bag of chips like 3 times. And he is generally not fun to play with because he just eats stats and has a triple-double because he wants to every single game. I'm not denying he's good. I'm not denying his stats are bad. But sometimes there's more in life than just stats.
I just don't think he's not fun to play with because, well, it seemed like Bradley Beal and Russ got along quite well. And I think Russ, LeBron, and AD will get along perfectly.
I don't. But I don't have a problem with your top 3, actually. You can say Curry's number 1. You can be Flight Reacts and have him number 1.
Curry, stop it!
That's okay. Durant 2 is correct. That is a correct answer. We will see. Dwayne might have him number 1, but we will see. LeBron at 3 is fine. I had him 4. I think Ryan had 6. That's okay. Paul George is not a top 10 NBA player, in my opinion. And that's about all the criticism I have. Not that bad.
Listen, I love Paul George. I watched my first highlights were as a kid were Larry Bird and Paul George. Don't ask how that happened, but it happened. Those were my first highlights. I love Paul George, but he's not top 10. I'll give him top 15. To be fair, I'll put him top 15 because he is a good player, but I just can't have him in that top 10. That's just me. I respect that you put him there. Having Kawhi at 9 kind of had me like a little jumpy because I was like, yeah, but if he comes back good the way he was, and it was just a whole bunch. So I'm fine with that too. What was your 4?
My 4 was Dame.
I struggle with that because for me, I see defense as a big key thing in today's NBA because most of the NBA is offense right now. And having good defense, like, don't get me wrong, Curry, I love Curry. But his defense is a little lackluster.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then you put LeBron 3. He said he'll never be 100% because of the ankle injury.
Even him
Forget
at
the
not
ankle injury. Just forget the ankle injury. This man's getting
Even-
old.
exactly, but the thing is, he may be old, but the thing is, his ability to do what he does, it will slowly degrade. But him not at 100% is still very, very good. He was still like him not 100%, maybe still top 10.
All right, I'll give you that. All right.
And Curry's up in that age. But nothing will change because, well, he's not very athletic, and his jump shot, I don't think will ever change.
Yeah.
When I had these guys text me their list, I tried not to like dwell on the list. I just would put down the names so then I could kind of react like it's the first time I saw it and, think about it more now. And when Emmanuel sent me his list, I had to stop and look at it. I said, bro, Giannis, he had Giannis number 7 to start.
That's what
Bro.
messed me up.
Giannis number 7?
Yeah.
I said, did you watch the finals? He's like, fine, 6. I mean,
What? Wait.
it's number
Yeah, I put him-
6.
We talked
Over-
about this.
Over Joel Embiid, who was, mind you, was running for MVP this whole entire year. Not only that, but he got injured. If he stayed healthy throughout the whole year,
Hold on. You had Joel Embiid who was running for MVP over Dame. Just a quick
What?
question.
Sorry,
I'm not trying to question it. I'm just a quick question. Is that what?
Sorry, say that one more time.
So you had Joel Embiid who was running for in that MVP race over Dame. Just a question. I'm not needing anything, but I just want to know.
No, I didn't have
Dame.
Joel over Dame.
He had Dame 4, Joel 7.
Because they're just
Okay,
no, he's just-
that's fair.
no,
That's
because
right.
he just gets hurt so many times. So I'm like, okay.
No,
cool.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's fair.
And then Giannis, like I said, if he will be better than KD if he gets a jump shot and
Yeah.
works on his free throws.
Obviously, I think we all know that if Giannis gets a jump shot, it's over for the league. We all know that, right?
It's already
Yeah,
over the
even-
league.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna say the last thing about Giannis. He has 2 MVPs. Let's not forget that. That's as many as Curry already. He has a Defensive Player of the Year. He is the only player on that list. No, Kawhi is a Defensive Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure. But he is a Defensive Player of the Year, 2 MVPs, and a Finals, and he's 26 or 27. He averaged 35 points in the Finals. He had 2 amazing plays, iconic Finals plays, the Ayton block and the alley-oop, strip oop. 6 is just too low. If you had him at 3, I wouldn't argue with it because he had playoff failures before this finals run. but 6 is too low. I think the lowest you can put him is 3.
I was honestly thinking about putting Giannis. Actually no. I think I should have put Giannis over Russ and Joel, and possibly over Dame too. So he would have been top 4. No, he
That's
would have just
fair.
been the 4.
That's fair. All right.
All right, Dwayne, you ready to go?
Listen, don't accuse me. I forgot some players, but here we go.
Oh wait. Also, Manuel didn't have Jokic in there. That's my one other.
I forgot
Oh.
Jokic. To be fair, I forgot
Okay.
Jokic. I did forget you.
That's
Jokic.
okay.
All right. Starting at number 10, Trae Young. Now, hear me out. I did this based on some of the playoffs that I saw and that I actually got to witness. And I don't get me wrong. I hated every single one of the foul calls he got. Because flop. But if Trae Young, let's say, adapts to that next season, I feel like the man's still going to put up 32 on your team. No problem. Because one, his floater game is, I don't even get it. It's pretty good. He can shoot from deep, and then he'll get you assists by alley-oops because John Collins just signed. So, I mean, I like him at the 10. So, I love Joel, but sometimes his shot selection would throw me off a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, he'll put points up, but the shooting percentage sometimes, and then along with the injury that he just had, I was a bit hesitant to put him farther up. At 8, I had Tatum. I feel like to just get like 1 or 2 wins against that Nets team with no Jaylen Brown was phenomenal. Great. It was great. And I see him as a great scorer. I think he needs to work on the defense a lot more. But I feel like coming into the season, I feel like he's gonna be better with the defense. Number 7, Dame Lillard. I put him at 7 because of his defense, like we have been talking about. And his shooting is just great. I mean, there's nothing really. Just clutch. I mean, I don't really know how to put anything else to it. He's just for real clutch. Number 6 was Luka. The reason why I put Luka there is because of just how he plays and how big he is. Like when you have someone playing like a guard that big and actually has the skill of a guard that big and really can shoot too. I mean, give him the ball and at the end of a game that you probably will get a bucket. So I have to put him at 6. 5, I had Kawhi going into the season because I feel like he's going to come back and he's going to be like, okay, so we didn't make it because I was injured. Let's get back to it. Kawhi seems like that no-nonsense guy that's just going to get back to good work ethic. So, and his defense is superb. And his offense has gotten tremendously better since he's gotten in the league. He has the ball handle now. He's just lethal in general. So, yeah, I had to put him at 5. At 4, I put LeBron. So I was really hesitant to put LeBron. Actually, I was kind of like debating between putting LeBron at 5 or 4 because of like just his age at this point and his athleticism going down because of not only injuries and his age, but just the wear and tear of the NBA. So yeah, I put LeBron at 4, just to be fair. Number 3, I had to put Steph. his defense is better than Damian Lillard and Trae Young's. So, and he's that lethal shooter that we all know him to be. And yeah, as Aiden said, I had the Warriors at like second in the West. Just how lethal that squad is and just how lethal he is. So yeah, I had Giannis at 2. Hold on, just show one. I'll explain. So at first I had these two flip-flopped, and then I kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I really believe that these two are just exchangeable. It really matters on personal preference. I say Durant because he has a shot, because he has that, lethal mid-range that not a lot of players now have. Is either the 3-point or paint. He has that mid-range. He has the 3-point. And he's this year he had some really good defense. So that's why I put Durant at 1. I put Giannis at 2 because obviously this man wins the Finals MVP, drops 50 in the finals. I mean, you can't just get rid of that. So, and then he hits his free throws in the last few games. That's what they need. So, yeah, that's my top 10.
Like I said earlier about the super teams with KD, I just don't see him as that number 1 spot.
Okay, I get that. No, let me explain that part because I totally forgot to address that part. I get that, but based on how both players were injured during that time, I'm basing it on that. I get that it's a super team. He has to join a super team to win. I don't like that either about Kevin Durant at all. I really wish he would just stay loyal to a team and then, really stick with the team. But we all know that's not Kevin Durant. So we can't expect something else. So that's why I put him at number 1, because I avoid personality in a person. What is their skill level? How do they play? Do they play their position well? And do they come up in clutch moments? And that's why I put him at number 1.
Okay, I can understand that.
So I love your top 6. Luka, Kawhi, LeBron, Curry, Giannis, Durant. That's fine. I agree with most of that. Same as mine, I think, for the most part, that I flip-flopped Giannis and KD, which you said you could do. I just think it's too early for Tatum and Trae Young. To me, just seeing Trae Young's name and then 1 spot below Joel Embiid just kind of hurts me as a Sixers fan. Just I respect what Trae Young did kind of because he thought of drawing fouls as his thing, and that he really got good at that and learned to take over that loophole in the league. But I've heard many smart NBA people say that he is the worst defensive player in the league. I mean, I didn't see that in the Sixers series. I thought he was a bit better than that, but he's just not good enough defensively to be top 10. He can be easy to play with because of his assists and his passing, but I think some of his teammates might struggle with his pulling up from 40 feet or 30 feet and then missing. Anytime he pulled up from 30 feet in the Sixers series, I was like, yes, please do that. That's not a good shot. This year he shot 34% from 3. So he's not even that good of a shooter, as you might think. And then Tatum, I thought his defense was actually pretty good. I think he's a good defensive player. He obviously can grow, but I think it's a bit too early for him. He has had some, the COVID thing kind of hurt him last year. I think he could be top 10 if the COVID thing didn't happen. To me, Paul George, Donovan Mitchell, Booker, Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, they're all 10 to 20 in my opinion. But having them 10 isn't the biggest crime you could commit.
I totally forgot about players like James Harden, AD and Jokic. If I had definitely remembered those players, I wouldn't have had as much of a difficult time trying to do this list. Because I definitely I would have had a Jokic where Tatum was at the moment. And then Harden, I totally forgot about Harden, but then I got reminded that his hamstring injury, and I was like, oh, wait, will he recover strong from that? So I was like, maybe not. And then AD hit with him just getting injured. Like, I remember watching one of the games, and I was like, oh, he's already limping. The game just started. And I'm like, why is he even playing if he's just already, like, give yourself a sec. Then he tried to push, and then got injured again. And I was like, if he keeps up that, like, I get the heart of it, but if he keeps up that, it might not end well in the long term. That's why I didn't have him in my top.
I don't have anything to say. You took my question when you mentioned forgot Harden. I was going to ask why he wasn't on there, but just your thoughts on that. But you already answered it. So just before we wrap up, I didn't have an outline full of questions, but I was just going to ask this one thing. When making a list like that, there's a lot of different factors you can put in. You can put in stats. You can look at stats. You can look at player performance, the team that they're on, whether they're on a playoff team or not, where they stand, if they carried the team to the playoffs or not. Or if you're Manu, you can look at their clubhouse, actions. So each of you can go and just kind of order those, or like, what's the main thing you look at, or just, defense is another one, just a key stat or attribute you look at for a player. So anyone can start with that.
I would probably say, of course, I like to look at the stats, me personally, but I also like to see like the playoff and non-playoff teams and where they are, because that really boosts you up a lot. Like if you're performing very well without a playoff team, or you're performing very well and the team just like barely makes the playoff, just shows how good you are with carrying a team when you have nobody around you to support you. And so that very much rings high with me. And then defense also goes up there, because that's why I had Kawhi up there and Joel Embiid and Giannis, because those guys are just extremely well in defense. I also just want to say one more thing, sidetrack. I really wish that I think we should have gave more attention to Donovan Mitchell for next year, because he was doing so well at the beginning, got hurt, but I think next year he's going to come back.
Yeah, so if we're looking at guys that could enter the top 10, a lot of the guys I mentioned in the second tier, Tatum, Booker, Mitchell, Trae Young, Zion could definitely be top 10. Those kind of guys definitely could enter top 10 with more success in the playoffs, defensive improvements. But the way I look at a top 10, the way I approach this kind of a list is just, if I'm trying to win the championship, who do I want on my team? That's why I have Curry up there, because all these guys with playoff success that have won NBA titles, like even Luka, who hasn't gone that far in the playoffs, has shown that he's really good in the playoffs. He's hit a couple buzzer beaters that I remember very well. So I guess just going into the season wanting to win a championship, who do I want on my team? Defense is higher up there in priorities. Stats is playoff stats, more importantly. Just like if I want a guy going into the season who's going to set me up for the playoffs, get a top 3 seed, like a Giannis and his teams who have shown they can be really good regular season teams, how can that translate to the playoffs? So I would just say, if I'm trying to win a championship, who do I want on my team? That's how top 10 should be.
A lot of times I try to look at overall game and performance. And for me, defense is a pretty big key most of the time with players. And for players like mostly like, let's say Bradley Beal, he's a great offensive player and he's trying to work on the defense. So that's where I kind of like, okay, I can't put you in the top 10 yet, but you can get there. So that's a lot of times, like with Tatum, now that I realize he's not in the top 10 yet, where I get that. So if I were to place you on a Knicks team or place you on a Pistons team, how would that team do? Like place you on a team where there's players that can ball, but there's nobody that can really shoot you. And if I place you here, how would they do? And that's why with my top three, I was like, well, these players can definitely lead a team all into the playoffs. Maybe not all the way to the finals, but definitely far into the playoffs. So that's how I did the top three. With the rest, I kind of just had to think like, well, are they really like, let's say they wanted to build a super team, who would you have on that? And yeah, so that's how I thought about the rest.
Yeah, for me, I've always had a problem with being a stat guy, kind of like Emmanuel. I do that a lot with baseball lists that I make. I look at the stats, and baseball's more of a sport you can do that at. There's lots of different sports, but for basketball, it's definitely more of, it's all about the playoffs and getting to the finals and the kind of resume that they've built. So to start, I kind of just jotted down just all the good players that I can think of. I look at stats, I look at the playoffs, and then I just kind of sort things out, looking at teams, people like Luka and Dame who kind of carry their team to the playoffs. Obviously Giannis, he kind of became number one for me because of the playoffs. So yeah, it was a lot of different ways. I definitely did look at a lot of stats, some kind of stats that weren't just, the points, average, rebound, or points, rebounds, assist average. I looked at other kind of obscure stats that I just discovered. But yeah, it's very interesting process for me. I just kind of do a whole bunch of stuff, but basketball's not my main sport in terms of knowledge, but try to put something together. Thanks for tuning in this episode. Hopefully we can get in a free agency episode and looking into next season. Football season starting, we'll get into that. So, and hopefully maybe baseball. We'll see. When playoffs come around, definitely do that. So thanks for watching. This was Sports Debates. Stay tuned for another episode.